Alright, we all set? Yeah, I think we're set. How we doing, everybody? What came first, the blood or the born? I guess we'll never know. The blood. Best Souls game ever? Oh, yeah, I am biased, I think. I have a very strong love for the original Dark Souls, right? But I honestly would say that's probably because it's the first one I played. I think it's the same. I see the same thing with people with Demon Souls. I'm like, I like Demon Souls, but it's not that great. But yeah, I could definitely say that Bloodborne is definitely, I think, one of the better games in their catalog. Based all over the shop. Yeah, for sure, Pastor. Howdy, Xavier. Good to see you. Speaking of Bloodborne being such a great game, just look at this. Bloodborne is a perfect game, chat, with no problems whatsoever. Yep. None whatsoever. Oh, yeah. Like, how do you even do this? Like, how do you manage to do something so blatant? Like, I have to now check it on the other character if it's the same thing. Like, this is so obvious. But hey, I didn't notice it until now, apparently, so clearly not. Is Loran just a desert-pilled Tumaru, or are they on that Karthus core? They were trailblazing that desert core theme way before Karthus. Karthus wishes that they thought of that idea first. Hemwick. Get it? Because it's the wick on the hem. Or I guess, yeah, some people, suddenly it's a laundromat, I guess. Uh-huh. I don't think I've won any shots in Hemwick, though. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, what is it that Hemwick's gonna give me that I care about? I don't think anything. I think I got all the stuff I could want from Hemwick, all things considered. I guess I could maybe get shots of these, explosive stuff, I suppose. Surprised they both died so quickly. Yeah, I don't really see anything that really makes me go, yeah, I need to get a shot of this. Yarnum was once a desert, damn. Many moons ago. No, but today's plan was actually to do the Elden Ring Let's Play, but then people on the Discord were like, has he finished the Elden Ring yet? He's like, nope, if you do, and they were just talking shit, as they do. I was like, you know what'd be funny? If instead of doing this Elden Ring Let's Play I was planning to do today, I delay it till tomorrow. So, here we are. Doing the unexpected sequel to the last Bloodborne stream. Which is fine. I can run around some more, see if there's anything I want to take some screenshots of, and just, like, chat with you guys. Anything interesting happening in the soul sphere. Nothing really stands out to me, chat. I think we're gonna have to just go to Nightmare Frontier. There we go. Is the kidnapper still here? He should be still here and alive, right? No, he's not. Huh. So we have you up here, buddy, so... Huh. Just going through my brain right now. I think I need to bring up some stuff and check it over. Hey, Tyrone! Good to hear from you. Not too much. We're doing another Bloodborne stream today. Let me look at this. I was actually thinking maybe I want some shots for Bergenworth, but... Let me double... Actually, no. It's the lecture building, specifically. I should have a shot of this, but... yeah, okay, here it is. Oh. Don't want that there. What are we dealing? Oh, I don't want to delete that. That's the church uniform, right? Yeah, it's the church uniform. I recognize those gloves anywhere. Look, he's about to prove Mikolash is Mesmer's father. Oh god. That would be horrifying. Yeah, okay. So we don't need that shot. My brain was starting to go, and I was like, wait a second. Is he a church or a hunter model? Because I thought he was a hunter model, but then I was like, no, I think he's actually a church model, though. I think the hunter model thing was an old idea I had wrong, right? But, you know me, I can't remember jack shit, so... Yep. What do you got left on the to-do for this game? You got some nice stuff already, but is there anything you haven't done that you'd like to write about? Well, I'm currently working on School of Mensis, right? You can see the drafts in Loki Latest on the Discord. So I have a bit of that I've been working on. But the most important thing that I would have to work on is probably the cosmology stuff. I would love to try to redo Blood's Beginning, but again, ever since I lost the original thesis, it's been sort of like this sore spot I haven't been wanting to revisit. But I might end up like splitting up or doing something with it. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to work backwards, where I'm going to work on everything except Blood's Beginning. I'm going to work on like the different Chalice dungeons and stuff, and then I will finally tackle the actual full cosmology and shit. Which might be a little confusing for people, but you guys don't seem to mind as is with my existing stuff. So like, what am I holding myself back for? A little early on that, don't you think, buddy? Rather late, I guess I should say, huh? Hey, buddy. God, you don't really get a good, they don't really do justice to your eyes, huh, my friend? Then we got to the big fancy entrance, right? Oh, right, I forgot. I forgot about you. Oh! Okay. Ow. Man. Man. I think I'm gonna respawn all the way back in Yahar Ghul now. If I remember correctly. Yes, Bloodborne cosmology is very based. But I really do want to tackle the dungeons, because I've been kind of sitting on lore for them for a long time, but, like, I want to do, School of Mensis first, because I think it's just a more important topic for me to talk about for people. I think there's just so much with the school that people don't realize, and, how nicely it ties together into the, base game, so... Let's go back to Cathedral Ward, pick up my echoes, and then we'll head to the Nightmare Frontier so I can take a look around, see if there's any good shots I want to grab. What's the deal with the dungeon? I have yet to go down there. They're the history. There. That's the simple answer. I want to go here. Here? Yeah, okay. Oh, is there anything I still want in the choir area? I don't think so. I think I've gotten all the shots I could possibly get. Like, the only shot I really want to get is the one that's ruined by freaking, like, Mikolash or whatever his face is, summon sign. Like, I almost want to buy, like, an unpatched pre-DLC, whatever, because I think it was with a patch, right, that they added summons and stuff to the game. So it's like, I kind of want to play that version of the game just so I can get that shot of Ebrietas with all the people praying. This will never not be funny. I completely forgot about that, but that will never not be funny. But yeah, so there's definitely a lot of stuff, there's definitely a lot of stuff there I could probably get away with if I could be like, oh, I can get shots from these angles where summons would get in the way otherwise. Now, should I really care about the summons? Should I just kind of ignore them? Yeah, but you know, they're kind of distracting when I'm trying to showcase something. People are gonna be like, oh, look, there's a summon there. Hey, you're burning your coffins, mate! Oh no, just goes. Wait, you killed the crow. Thanks, man. You're a bro. There we go. Bloodborne smash or pass when? Why? The answer is obviously smash all of them. I actually like all the blood you see here. I gotta check to see if that's the case with a lot of others. Alright. Ignore the clipping. Dear Lord. Ooh, there's a few shots I might be able to get during daytime that I'll really like. I'm gonna definitely want to get on my other character. See if I can get those shots. Probably should do that now. Oh. 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 Came a little too early. I mean, does anyone know what tool that's supposed to be? I'm sure it's some kind of farming tool. Oh, wow, You don't realize until you don't have the shotgun how much the shotgun is actually useful in certain situations with the way enemies like bend. If you're not point blank range, you can really miss a few shots that you really shouldn't. They're blood vials, Adolphus. That's the deep lore. It's just interesting to see, yeah, because you don't have it on a lot. You see them like in the streets every now and then, but the fact they're all like there at the foot of Annalise's house specifically is interesting. Essentially, I've never noticed that detail before. This is why it's always good to do a once-over on these games every once in a while, because there may be like tiny details that you overlooked last time, because you know blends in with the scenery. But turns out it was actually good. The beast was over here! Bollocks! Oh yeah, I forgot you're up there. There you go. Oh yeah, Yarnum always had a thing for blood. Yeah, and if you're from Canehurst, you have especially a thing for blood, right? It just makes sense in the larger context of, like, the Healing Church has clearly been taking well care of their little prostitute. They want her to be under the radar, but well fed. Ooh, I don't recognize that statue there. Huh. Oh, that's the Queen statue. I think. Yeah, I think that's the Queen statue. Yeah, we're gonna have to go through this area again with, Oh. We gotta go through this area again with a character in daylight, see if we have anything more interesting. Again, I wish I had a better camera or something, but you know. Maybe Bloodborne will be announced for PC soon, chat. Now that Elden Ring DLC's done, nothing could get in the way of From Software just making sure that Sony has the code, right? Right? Baby on PC when you are my only hope. Nah, Dollfish, you're crazy. It's clearly just some weird disease in the air. It's the fumes. Clearly that's what's causing everyone to get sick. Frickin' blaming the blood. Man. As if something that tastes so good could be harmful. Oh. Wait, what? Oh, right. I completely forgot this isn't, I completely forgot that this wasn't, the church during the Blood Moon for a second. We'll never get one, but what would a Bloodborne 2 look like? Probably be open world like Elden Ring. It would probably have a return to Anor Londo moment, except instead of Anor Londo, it would be you going through this weird arcane swamp thing, and then you'll go to a building which looks strangely familiar, but you can't put your finger on it. You'll climb up inside because it's half sunk into the swamp, right? It's all crooked and crap, right? Like that, right? And then when you suddenly drop down inside, it will suddenly appear the big ringing sound and go, boom, Bergenworth. And then suddenly you'll be like, oh my god, it's the lecture building. And then you'll go through and you'll find this doorway, and then you'll go through the doorway, and when you go out that doorway on the second floor, suddenly it'll take you to that same bridge that you jumped off with to go to the Rom Arena, and then you'll be like, oh my god, it's literally the same Bergenworth area. Ah! And then, yeah. That'll be your Bloodborne 2. Calling it now. Can't even catch a break, suck the air, and I'm a damn wolf. Shit is wild in Yarnum. Yeah, I know, man. The plague, man, the plague. You put a lot of thought into something that will never happen. I'm just telling you, after doing so much analysis into these games, like, that's the type of shit that Miyazaki thinks, right? Like, those are the moments, those are the images that Miyazaki has, and he loves to reuse his old ideas and stuff and give a new spin. That's just the kind of thing he would do. It's like, ah, yes, we'll go to Moonside Lake, except the lake has turned into, like, a swamp. Because I love my swamps. And then when you go through, there'll be the lecture building. It's going to be, like, this big reveal for the player, and they're going to be like, oh my god, you're crazy! And all the people who actually know the lore are going to be like, oh my god, that makes so much sense! And then the people who don't know the lore are going to be like, oh my god, that's crazy! And then Miyazaki will be happy. Do I sleep? Yeah, I sleep just fine, believe me. I sleep quite soundly. Cathedral Ward it is. Come on, let's get through. This is on PS5, by the way. I can't even imagine what PS4 wait times were like. Like, you guys had to wait for probably like a full minute just to get in and out of your hub world. Oh. It feels weird that I'm able to kill this guy just about as fast as I can kill him in New Game Plus on the other account. I just wanted to let that out. I find that feels very weird to me. with you. Wait, did I ever open this? Oh yeah, I did, okay. Poison knife. I assume this is not supposed to be a bow, but like a cower type thing. I imagine. God, I was about to open my map, chat. Elden Ring has ruined me. I was about to open my map. Oh, God, chat. How do we end up like this? Yarmarians will be the Tumerians of their age. The Yarnamites will be... Yarnami. I don't even know what I was trying to say there. The Yarnamites will be the Tumerians of their age. Shake my head, you'll hear, yo way! Well, in the catacomb, sure, whatever you say there, Xavier. Okay, so the lighting doesn't really change much here. To BH. To BH, it's kind of the same. Like, maybe it's a little bit brighter? Elden Ring 2 is just gonna be like what marriage is like with Ronnie as she sends you out on a menial task to get her snacks in the most dangerous part of the lanes between just cause she has cravings, like a real wife. Yep. Sounds about right to me. That sounds like my actual wife that I don't have. Oh. My man just decided he wanted to show me how he dances. The mold will make you think you got maps. I find it funny how they use they have a corpse for, Black Church Hunters, but they don't use it for the actually getting the Black Church Hunter set. I find that kind of amusing. And see, like, it's the same pose. There's nothing stopping them from using it, right? So, just something to keep in mind. Yeah, I gotta kill this guy. Me casually dodging bullets like I'm Trump. Uh-huh. Idola will be the judge! I think it's the first time I've heard that line in-game. Alright, so I was able to hear Idola will be the judge in game, so I remember having troubles on whether or not I could verify that any of that was real and if I should include in the thesis, so now I gotta double check stuff like that. Now I gotta check. You not gonna come down? Come on, buddy. Alright, he's having a little bit of a seizure. See, the crow can do it, why can't you? Why is the crow better at pathing than you? Ah, there we go.
My tarnished husband, I would like you to go to Caelid and get me Taco Bell. Yes, only the one in Caelid will do. They're the only ones who carry the spice nacho tacos. Hurry, consort. I am starving.
Yep, that's exactly how she would say it. How old are the Hunters as an organization? Obviously, I hope people aren't immortal, so surely working with things within a century's time, right? It depends on which Hunters you're asking about, Adolphus. If we're talking about the church hunters, then they've probably been active for about half a century. If we're talking about Gurman's hunters, then we're probably talking about something a little over half a century, maybe an extra decade or so, right? Like if I had to put a number to it, I would say that Ludwig and the Healing Church are about 40-ish years old, and Gurman's probably been hunting, if I had to put it, at maybe about like 70-ish years. So he's been doing it probably for a while. Then he meets with Willem, and he's helping out Willem for a little bit. Then he leaves with Laurence or whatever, and they're doing their own thing, right? And, you know, the Hunters as an organization are really kind of expanding. So then if you want to put a number on that, like I said, about 70-ish years for Gurman and his small crew at the time. Let's expand, like, the full hunting organization to, like, 60-ish, right? That's how I would, like, put it, like, as a general, if I had to put, like, a decade to it. But yeah, we're all talking about within the course of a century. Me trying to get a shot of these stupid messengers with their message, without the view notes thing in the way. Alright, let's look at this angle, see if I get anything in the daylight. No, if anything, it's harder to see stuff in this lighting. No? Yeah, I could not see those statues the same way, for sure. Crazy. So Twink Laurence isn't real? He's old? Yeah, Laurence is old. I've never seen this Twink Laurence you speak of, but if you're seeing any fan art or stuff of Laurence and they're showing him as like this super young man, he hasn't been young since maybe when he first joined Bergenworth and stuff. Like, he's portrayed as an old man in Canehurst stuff, but you could always argue that's like them like reusing existing assets and stuff. So like, you know, they're portraying old man Laurence because they kind of have to or whatever. They don't got anything else to depict him as. But yeah, like, especially considering he's using like old alpha outfits that no longer exist, right? But yeah, like, looking at like stuff like Laurence and all that, he has to be like a bearded man at the very least by the time of the events that we see in the Hunter's Nightmare. And presumably he'd also have to be pretty old by then. So if I had to guess, he was probably in his like 30s or 40s by the time he joined Willem, and then got, you know, older from there. Man, can't even get a good shot looking up at that stuff, huh? Save sawing. Making stand. Ah, there's the. No, I think I've seen this statue before. I just don't remember it. It's true for a lot of things in my life, so. That's why Torrance immune to rot. He ate Taco Bell. You guys are coming up with your own mythology around Ronnie and Torrent right now. It's basically confirmed in lore, yeah, you know? The evidence is all there. Oh, that's a... Ain't that nice. I'm gonna actually get a little bit farther out so in case I want to splice these statues together. Ignore the obvious seam in the world that's right there. God damn these devs. How do you even do that? Like, that's just impressive at that point. Like, how do you manage to screw up with an asset like that? Yeah, they're not stupidly old. Yeah, we're not talking about, like, demigods with, like, America and stuff, where we have no idea how long anything is, because, like, it could theoretically, they could be centuries old or even longer. Because, like, Elden Ring just does a terrible job giving us any sense of time scale in its world and how long it's been since events passed, which is sad because Demon's Souls did such a good job in, like, giving us a very good idea. It's like, okay, it's been a few decades or for, like, most of the big events of the main story, but, like, nothing too crazy. Hey, Jens. Welcome to the chat. For a second, I thought that was a weapon. Here's the presumed coffin for everyone's favorite ghost gatekeeper down there. Man, that looks awful. I never was able to get a really good shot of any of this stuff without these stupid statue things being in the way, you know? Probably the biggest disappointment. You got another town, city over there, all over the water. You got another one over there. I hate this. Yeah, before the character got up, baby. Elrond really went to include a timeline that included dinosaurs leading all the way to Cleopatra and Scope. Like, Marek at times feels almost like a footnote. In some sense, when you look at the wider timeline, yes, but I'm specifically talking about the plot stuff. We're talking about, like, the main story and the plot. Like, it's really hard to get a sense of, like, okay, this is happening over the course of how long? Yeah, well. More clipping. Always more clipping. It's one of the reasons I don't like the Elder Scrolls timeline as much. It has the same problem as Elden Ring one. A super amount of time goes by where a whole lot of nothing happens. I'm not an expert in Elder Scrolls, but I recall there being, like, a lot of, at least, like, basic, like, historical events and stuff. I just have to assume that a lot of times when it comes to like stuff like Elder Scrolls and to a lesser extent Elden Ring. Because it's not the focus of the plot, they're gonna generalize a lot more. So they're not gonna focus too much on specifics and stuff, right? And one of the biggest problems with Souls is because of the way that the stories are told and stuff, we're probably never gonna get those specifics, as interesting as they might be in theory, right? Like, compare to, say, like, your Warhammer universe or something, right? Because Warhammer universe, as I understand it, also has a lot of time to cover, right? There's 40k, right? But it does a lot better job of, like, you know, going into depth about those different eras and giving that sort of coverage, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, for if there are any Warhammer fans in the chat. Like, I definitely see where something like that is a shortcoming of the Souls world building. Any lore to the Forbidden Woods gatekeeper being dead when you open the door? Yeah, because he's human, so naturally he dies, but he's dead. He's a crazy guy who's dedicated to his master Willem, so he doesn't leave his post, even as he's starving to death. So then, you know, well, that's what happens, right? And because you can only open the gate, by using the password and stuff, and the Healing Church has banned that. No one's actually been back there to confirm his death in person for many years. Hence why I talk about the coffin there. Likely being dedicated to him because they're like, well, dude's probably dead after so long without getting supplies from the church, right? Because clearly that's, like, he's in a church building, right? It's basically the, let me go back here. It's basically the Hunter's Workshop building, the way it's designed and stuff, right? Like, they basically use the same exterior model. Only it's collapsed on the top. Hence, again, we see all that rubble and stuff, like you see all the overgrowth and things, right? So the idea is basically that this guy was basically been, much like, what's the word to put it? Much like how, they've been forbidden from going down here, we can see how the building itself has fallen into disrepair and stuff, because again, they're not setting supplies, they're not doing anything, we see all the incense urns around him, right? So they used to supply him, you know, the stuff he would need to protect himself from the beasts, you know, so he wouldn't die and all that stuff, and then when that stopped, he died. There's nothing, like, crazy with the lore and the reveal there. And I guess if you want to go into the idea that, oh, but he's dead, but he's talking to you and stuff, it's because it's his ghost, right? This is something the game kind of establishes, and it's leaning into that gothic horror thing, where it's like, okay, he died, but the spirit in his blood is still persisting with his job because he feels such strong loyalty to his master that he continues to perform this duty even after death. Yeah, a lot of lore in these games tend to be very, they tend to be, thing where you're like, oh, that's crazy, that just happened, right? It kind of feels like out of left field until you understand their cosmologies. Then it tends to be where the games become very, mundane. Once you, like, unlock the code of, like, oh, okay, so it follows this rule and stuff, right? Because then they follow, pretty basic premises and stuff. Like, I wouldn't call it, I wouldn't call it like a hard magic system or anything like that, right? But like, usually there's a lot of general principles and things that they work under. You're like, okay, yeah, I get how we get to like these crazy monster designs and stuff, because it all falls under like a pretty general rubric. Yeah, nothing I'm seeing here that I really care about, so. Oh no, I agree. I think Skyrim jumping so much farther ahead of Oblivion was a weird choice. I get the idea they want to have more freedom and stuff by not having it where you have all these main characters and stuff where like these superpowered like juggernauts that could be existing out there. They had to do the same with the Neverine by saying like, oh, you know, it went to what was that other continent in the Elder Scrolls that no one ever goes to apparently, or confirms a lot, right? Right, like, they did the same thing there, where, like, there's rumors of going there. Why? For what reason? Who knows? Like, it's never gonna come up again. And then they choose for Skyrim and stuff. Okay, we gotta, like, shoot these things 100 years in the future, so that way the hero of Kvatch cannot possibly affect anything. And it's like, really? But listen, I'll be honest, Elder Scrolls world building has always been a mess. It has not been, what's the word? The only time that Elder Scrolls world building had any substance to it, in my humble opinion, is in Morrowind. Afterward, it's always been sort of just fluctuating between mediocre and god-awful. I can't speak to the Elder Scrolls Online. Maybe it's a lot better there because, you know, from what I understand, it's a long time in the past, and they're covering, like, obviously all the lands and stuff, so there's a lot more chances to, like, flesh things out, right? But, I think just overall, Elder Scrolls has always suffered from, just not having good writers. It's a good concept, and there's a lot of good stuff that's come out of it as a result, but I feel like that's more accidental than, because of, the way the game stories have been told. Alright, so is there anything I want from Old Yarnum? Not really. Anything at the Church of the Good Chalice, then? Nope. Cathedral War, dope. Tome of Odin, definitely not. Great Bridge, not really. Central Yarnum. I think we got all that stuff a while back, so I think we should be fine there. And then First Floor Sick Room, nope. Haven't awakened this place yet. There's the jail. Okay. Alright, other character time. I've said that Melina isn't expanded upon. Her link to the DLC is through, like, two things. Very important stuff, but it almost feels like that Melina was born almost diagonally opposed to America. I have not done a deep dive on Melina, right? Because I'll be honest, I find her the least compelling of all the heroine characters that Miyazaki has ever presented to the player. I still think my favorite of all the heroines is the Dark Souls 3 Firekeeper. And it's purely because she has almost zero plot attached to her. So I can just, like, okay, I go over, I do my job, she does her job, like, everybody's happy. Like, I just find that they're such nothing characters in my mind. And I feel like every time Miyazaki attempts to give them characterization or whatever, it fails miserably to ever attach the player to them beyond, like, superficial of, oh, she's hot waifu. That's one of my favorite things about the doll is you can just turn her off so you don't have to freaking listen to her audio every time and skip through it. But, like, as far as, design and stuff is concerned, I would agree that I think that it's very obvious that Miyazaki doesn't feel like he needs to do, or he can do, anything more with Melina than what's already been established in the base game, and that isn't much. It's already patently obvious that Melina is the Glowmite Queen, and all her lore about her is there, and that the whole purpose of Melina in the present era is just to help you receive the hints, the subtle hints over the course of the game to solve that mystery of the Glowmite Queen. And that Melina, as she exists now, you could probably argue there's some deeper meaning and stuff to her, like, fulfilling her purpose and doing things for herself and not just because it's her mother's plans and all that shit, right? But, like, who really cares about what Melina wants and her, like, getting her personal self-fulfillment, doing this functional role for you where she just sacrifices herself? It's like, who fucking cares? So I feel like the game doesn't do enough to make you you want to know more about her, let alone learn anything interesting. So the exposition sidekick, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hero of Kavach is implicitly turns into Sheogorath as a result of the DLC in Elder Scrolls, yeah. And so, theoretically, the Sheogorath you meet in Skyrim is that character. Him or her, right? Melina's possible lore has been beaten to death more than Brain of Menses. Yeah, this is what I said when people, like, a lot of people, like, here's the thing that happens with every DLC, chat. Go back and watch, like, people's old videos for, like, speculating on what the DLCs for these games will cover and stuff. It's almost never the stuff that they're actually talking about, at least not to the degree that they're hyping it up. Like, I remember looking back when because this was, like, when the lead up to, when I got into the English community, was around the lead up to Dark Souls 3 second DLC, for Ring City, right? So, it was after the announcement trailer, for that to be specific. So, when I saw that, and then, got around and was trying to figure out stuff about, like, well, why is there such a disconnect between the Japanese and English communities on some of the lore stuff that I was seeing, I saw, like, some of those videos, and I was like, people were thinking about, like, oh, how it's going to take us to Londor, and so I'm like, we're not going to Londor. Like, that's not happening. Like, it's very obvious when there are these countries and places that we're never going to physically go to, but exist out there in the lore for you to learn about. And we have plenty of lore on Londor. We don't need to go to Londor to get more. And there's this talk about like, oh, Velka's gonna be the final boss. If Velka was the excuse me. If Velka was the final boss, then that would completely defeat the point of Velka's character. Like, it was some of the most ridiculous crap you would be seeing, right? And you go back and you'll see that's true for a lot of it. I think a lot of people have these inflated expectations, and they're just never gonna pan out that way. You have to just assume that the DLCs are probably gonna hit a few basic points that are kind of neglected in the base game, but otherwise, they're probably only gonna touch on things very briefly to a minor amount, in many cases indirectly. It's not even gonna be like, this will directly talk about it, it'll just be like, it'll, by like, you know, 2 steps removed, be able to help you explain something you saw or help add additional context and things. Like, the stuff with Tanith in the foreign country, and now we have the thing on, like, the Rao dancers or whatever. Like, it's obvious that's supposed to be, whether or not that's the name of, Tanith's country or whatever, what is it, Rafa or something? Whether or not that's the name of the actual country that they're from, or the name of the queen, or whoever, like, it's obvious that's supposed to give you a little bit more lore to chew on that, but it's not, like, gonna give you something crazy amount that's gonna give you, like, so much more context or whatever, right? And that's true for a lot of things. A lot of people were expecting stuff with Godwyn. Of course they weren't gonna do stuff with Godwyn. Godwyn is soulless, and we get tons of lore for Godwyn in the base game. The idea that people want even more on top of that, it's like, no, just do the analysis. Like, the problem a lot of times is, like, not that, it's not for lack of evidence in the base games that people want this stuff to happen. It's for the lack of understanding what the base games give you in the first place, and how much information you actually already learn from the base game on these characters and things. And that's what I feel like it is with Melina. The game gives you plenty of stuff for her, and if I did analysis, I'd probably be able to be like, yeah, you know, she's a very fleshed out, well-rounded character, yada, yada, yada. But during the gameplay, I couldn't care less about her. She's just another maiden, and perhaps the one I'm least interested in learning more about, because she just is kind of there, gives me a horse, then leaves, like, unless I need her to exposite something for me. Which, by the way, why do I need her to exposite these things for me? We couldn't have found better ways to relate this information? But again, it goes back to the, oh, we have to do it so we can connect how, you know, she's from, like, the spirit realm or whatever, right? Because, you know, she's Glow My Queen dead and brought back somehow and all that, so she has these spirit connections and all these things, and, you know, she has a deep connection to her mother, America, so she can sense her mother's words or the spirits they live behind, because apparently words have spiritual essence, too. Okay, nothing I want here at this hour either, so, okay. We're just gonna go to, the Nightmare Frontier now. I think Rana is also the blind swordsman's country's origin. Oh, that'd be cool if that was the case. Velka and Glow My Queen do share some similarities. Yeah, exactly. There's always these background or characters who you're never going to meet, and in many cases it would defeat the purpose if you could meet them. But that you're gonna get tons of lore and information if you know where to look. Alright, enough of me running around in corners and stuff. Let's see, where do I want? Is it not here? Okay, Nightmare Frontier, here we go. She does nothing in game, and that's why she fails as a character. I think that's what people want, to just do something with her and have her not be a useless waste of potential. Yeah, this is, I agree with that entirely. I think that's the big thing that people wanted Melina to, they wanted Melina to be a more persistent character throughout your journey, and be able to actually effectuate things in a meaningful way